Introduce yourself for the day. It is my greatest pleasure to introduce Darryl Edwards. Darryl is here all the way from the UK, so thank you so much for making your way all the way down to the Southern Hemisphere. He's got a very interesting background, 20 years as a computer analyst in investment banking. How on earth did you end up here? I love seeing the different backgrounds and different experiences that people have had. But I guess all of those different experiences shape how we view the world. So we're looking forward to hearing Darryl's perspective. He's the world-renowned expert on movement and has developed very, very famous primal play sessions. So from sitting in front of the computer to playing, I reckon that's a pretty impressive transition. Please welcome Darryl Edwards.
Thank you for a marvellous introduction. So yes, I'm Darryl Edwards. I'm going to talk about the relationship between activity, good health, and the power of primal play. So as I was kind of given the short straw, and at the end of the day, at least a third of you will fall asleep at some point during my presentation. But I'm going to try and keep it as light and as fluffy as possible. Just to give you a bit more background about myself, I'm an author and a blogger. My first book is called Paleo Fitness, and my recently launched book is Paleo from A to Z. It's a paleo encyclopedia. I'm also a movement coach and a nutritionist. This is one of my clients here. We're very interesting before and after photo because his day one was basically 20 years of a snapshot of basically him living as that individual. After 3 short months, a radical improvement in his body composition. And what I'm probably most renowned for is primal play. I love to play. I love to travel the world and introduce people to a new way or reintroduction to what we would enjoy as children. So let's focus on this global problem in relation to lifestyle, chronic lifestyle disease. The World Health Organization stated in 2012 that 68% of all deaths globally were based on chronic lifestyle issues, and that's forecast to be 75% by 2020. And the 3 key risk factors for prevention are smoking, it's pretty obvious, a poor diet and nutrition, and physical inactivity. And they lead to 50% of all deaths globally: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, lung disease, and some cancers. I was looking for something interesting in relation to obesity, and most of us are familiar with the stats now. In the UK, 68% of individuals are overweight or obese. It's 70% in the US. It's pretty high everywhere, really. It's a global problem. And I was looking at kind of sustainability, and I found this really interesting stat. 6%, looking at North America, 6% of the population globally reside in North America, but they actually have 34% of excess fat mass globally, which is pretty remarkable, isn't it? 6% of the population globally, over a third of excess body weight. If you look at Asia, 61% of the planet in terms of population, but only 13% of excess mass. So we're concerned about population growth in Asia as effect in terms of sustainability to the planet, but actually potentially far worse happens just in the US. So what's happened? Well, there's been a kind of a pathway from the Paleolithic to the current era, and whether that's dietary choices, whether that's a lack of activity, things aren't looking too good in the present day. And looking at physical activity, which is obviously what I'm really passionate about, and again looking at these statistics, 61% of the planet are adults, 39% kids. According to the World Health Organization, 80% of kids don't meet the guidelines of physical activity. 80%. For adults, looking at the US, 10% of US adults meet the physical activity guidelines. 10%. And that's according to wearing kind of devices that record movement. And when it's self-reporting, it's 62%, which means people lie when they report how physically active they are. So the truth is, when I was a kid, you'd pass the ball. You spend a lot of time saying, pass the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. Now kids are talking about passing remote controls, passing the iPhone, passing the iPad, and there's no real excitement or passion around movement. So we become sloths. That's what's happened to us. We sit more, our leisure activities basically very passive. There were no opportunities to move because we don't need to hunt for our food sources. We can order our food online. We can date remotely, which is the truth. Our opportunities to move are basically restricted to what we do as a hobby. Transportation limits our locomotion capability, and our habitat, our natural environment, increasing in urbanized areas mean that we tend not to want to move. We don't have to move. So looking at the research, physical activity at work, this is from 1953, Jeremy Morris, who's a British scientist, and he was looking at bus drivers and bus conductors. And what was remarkable about that research was that bus drivers were 3 times as likely to die of a heart attack as bus conductors. Bus drivers were 90% of their days sedentary, and bus conductors were running up and down the stairs, they were helping passengers on and off the bus, and all-cause mortality was a 50% reduction in conductors in comparison to bus drivers. Here we've got a study in 1989, and again, most are fairly familiar with this now. There was a reduction in all causes of death based on being physically active. The more active you are, the reduction in risk. Here we can see graphically, basically on the left, those are individuals who are the least active, those on the right are more active, and there's a reduction in death of all causes, for men and also for women. And it doesn't take much movement in order to significantly improve our health. There's another study looking at low fitness and in comparison to other risk factors, hypertension, smoking, obesity. Low fitness actually has a greater bearing on our health outcomes than pretty much anything else that we could do. And finally, this is probably the best summation that I could find of all of the studies that I could come across in relation to improved health benefits based on our ability or lack of ability to move. Rheumatoid arthritis. We often look at rheumatoid arthritis and we're well aware of inflammation being a primary cause. But what's less known is that exercise actually significantly improves the outcomes of those suffering from rheumatoid arthritis. There's a reduction in cardiovascular disease, there's a reduction in inflammation, there's a reduction in type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, there's a reduction in osteoporotic fractures, improved function, and improved quality of life. So movement has a wide-ranging influence. So this young man here was myself working in investment banking, and I was very fortunate. This is quite a while ago, but I actually had 4 monitors, and as I got more important, I had 8 monitors, and then there was a time I actually had 12. I was literally surrounded, cocooned by monitors, and I felt extremely important. And I spent about 16 to 18 hours a day in that environment. I was permanently on call. I was getting paid significant sums of money to ensure that the bank was making far more money than I was. But yeah, I felt very important. I went to the doctor. I had an annual checkup, and the doctor told me that I had elevated risk of cardiovascular disease. I was suffering from low back pain at the time, I recall. I was pre-diabetic. What else? I was anemic. I was suffering from seborrheic dermatitis. I basically was a really unhealthy individual. And I asked my doctor what I should do to kind of overcome this, and I didn't want to take any medication. I was hypertensive, as well as a whole host of other issues. So I said, I don't want to take any medication, what should I do? And he said, you should try exercise. Do you go to the gym? Yes, I do. Go to the gym, find something that you find interesting, and continue to work in that way. And this was the kind of before, this is my before. I used to wear knee braces, knee supports, to walk to work. If I walked up the stairs, my knees would collapse and give way. I wore a back brace for about 15 years. So it's like basically like wearing a corset, because I was just in agony. And I felt if I didn't have that support, that life would be very uncomfortable. So can you imagine? Corset, 2 knee supports, ankle supports every now and again. And I used to almost wear permanent wrist support because of all the time spent on the computer with RSI. And I started exercising. And I came across this film, 300, and if Dallas is in the room, he'll know that I've trained at the same facility as him in Salt Lake. And I watched this movie, and I was like, I want to train like those guys. So I started doing this very high intensity training program, inspired by what was happening in Salt Lake City. And the results were remarkable. I got stronger, I got faster, I got fitter, my health markers improved. And it was all down to my change in lifestyle, this gateway to better health. The downside for me, however, was that my after was pretty much the same. I was still wearing knee supports when I was doing my deadlifts and my squats. I was still wearing wrist supports when I was trying to do my overhead lifts. I was still wearing a back brace because my back was still pretty weak. So even though I had remarkable transformation physically, there's a point where I started to break down because I was overloading my body, not having proper recovery and periodization and the like. So there's a point where it just wasn't working out for me. So this is my wellness activity curve. And you can see here on the left that where a lot of people sit and a lot of people reside is in a sedentary lifestyle. The recommendation by most health bodies around the world are looking to 150 minutes per week. But I want to reside pretty much at the top of the bell curve. I want to make sure I'm optimizing minimum effective dose, maximum health benefit. And I don't want to reside at the far right of this curve where I resided for some time. I was trying to train like an elite athlete. If you look at the stats around elite athletes, life expectancy is actually less than sedentary individuals. For NFL athletes, the average life expectancy is 58 years old. For endurance runners, it's 68, which is less than a sedentary individual. That's based on stats from the US. So having elite performance isn't necessarily providing healthful benefits. So this is me now. I no longer wear knee braces. I no longer wear back supports. My wrists are fine. I feel as if I've kind of rebuilt myself. If anyone remembers the $6 Million Man from the 70s, I do feel rebuilt without spending $6 million. So, I've kind of shared with you some of the benefits of physical activity. And for some of us, and I believe the majority of us feel this way, we hate exercise. I know some of you are thinking to yourselves, no, I don't. I'm in the I love exercise camp. I love exercise. I think you're kidding yourselves. I think you're lying. No one loves exercise. No one loves it. The reasons are you have to do it because, there's a charity event, I want to raise some money. So that's why I'm going to exercise. Why else? Because I want to beat that person on the board. Yeah, Dallas is on the board. I want to beat him. He's got a better time than I have. I'll do whatever I can to beat that's the motivation that I need in order for me to continue on that journey. So I tried to kid myself that I loved exercise, but I didn't. I hated it with a passion. Okay. So what I did, I'm going to share something with you today, and this is very personal, and it might bring me to tears. But I once had a love affair, and I'm going to share this with you right now. And I've got the original letter here. I'm going to read it out to you, and it's about my love affair with exercise. Dear exercise, I just can't take it anymore. When we started out together, things were so great. I always looked forward to our time together, Whether it was a quickie high intensity session or an all day marathon session, it was rewarding. There was an endorphin rush. At times though, you were difficult and a pain in the ass, otherwise known as muscle soreness in the glutes. But I loved our love affair. I felt I was getting stronger. I made a commitment to spend even more time with you. But then it all changed, you see. It all started when you began to get too demanding, constantly expecting more and more from me. It became more intense, more painful. Every time I saw you, you told me I had to work harder, but I was so easily distracted. And I started to notice something. I started to notice that something else wanted to comfort me and pay me more attention. And I started flirting with my armchair. I was seduced. I know it's no excuse, and I hope you can forgive me. It's not you, it's me. Thank you. So I believe there should be a new paradigm for fitness. And I believe we should all get fit. And that fitness isn't F-I-T, fit, it's F-I-T-T. Our fitness should be functional, but it should be beyond functional, it should be practical. Our fitness should allow us the capability to actually do stuff that we need to do stuff that we want to do. It should be integrative. It shouldn't just be set aside for 30 minutes or half an hour in the day when we can find time to work in a fitness setting. It should be part and parcel of our day. It should also be transformative. There's one thing about fitness, conventional fitness, which is you only get the reward and the benefit right at the end of the activity. The runner's high right at the end, the endorphin rush right at the end. As you know, with endorphins, they're a natural painkiller, a natural pain reliever. So you've got to undergo this pain in order for you to feel great at the end. There's nothing transformative about it apart from going through that process and meeting your end goal. Have you ever seen somebody running? I'm sure you've all seen this. I love running. Okay? Team play. So when people exercise, individual exercise, even in a group setting, it still tends to be about the individual working within a group. There isn't much in relation to teamwork and team dynamics. So the three key principles of primal play are it should be powerful and life-changing, it should be practical, and it should be playful. That's the primal play method. So how do you implement primal play, a playful approach to fitness into your life? One, we should seek to reclaim the enjoyment of movements that we experienced as kids. Okay, so when I was a kid, and I was going to jump. Can you hear me? Yeah. When I was a kid and I was going to jump, okay, I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't just jump onto the chair because it's a box and we do box jumps. I would have an imaginary space, and I would imagine that within this space there's a pit of snakes, deadly vipers, there are monsters. I would use my imagination. I would visualize what's important here about this space. That's what I would do. And if I was going to jumping, I wouldn't just jump aimlessly and mindlessly. I wouldn't do that. I'd be focused, I'd be thinking about it, I wouldn't want to fall in, you know, I'd be, oh wow, I've done it, now I'm going to fall, help me, help me, help me. That's what would happen, okay? So you would treat this really, really seriously. So our movement should be big, broad, inclusive in general. It should include the participation of others. Okay? There isn't much fun with always playing by yourself. It should be fun, we should create an element of risk, whether that's imaginary or otherwise. It should be unpredictable, and it should allow us to prepare for the unexpected. We should play with the rules, abide by them, change them, break them, have no rules. And we should use our natural environment as our playground. What do you reckon in 5 words, Primal Play session tonight?
Quite amazing. Less than 5 words, right?
That'll do. Thanks. Who's next?
Darryl is a concentration of functional movement, and he shares it well.
It was super rejuvenating.
Exuberant and exhilarating.
I'm Rachel. I had a lot of fun and learned a lot.
I gave Darryl a piggyback and it was awesome.
So yeah, that didn't happen because they were doing 100 burpees at the time. So they had an exhilarating experience, and as you probably noticed, they were quite young, fit and healthy individuals. But play is not just for those who have no issue.
So I'm Steph and I have multiple sclerosis. I've had it for about 7 years. I used to be a marathoner and a mountain climber, and I haven't been able to move hardly at all or do any exercise in the last few years. And today, with Darryl's support, I jumped. It was only an inch off the ground, but it was a jump, and I feel amazing. 2, 3. One more.
Yeah, Steph was watching one of my Primal Play sessions, and she said, "It's remarkable what you're doing, but there's no way I can join in." She was in a wheelchair, her partner was standing by her side, and she's like, "I would really love to join in with your Primal Play session." And I went, "Of course you can join in. I mean, why do you believe you can't join in?" And she went, "Because, well, look at me. I'm in a wheelchair. There is no way I can join in." And I said, "Okay, we'll help you out of your wheelchair. And you're going to take part in every single aspect of this session." And she did. And she was able to jump at the end, and she had a fantastic time. And we all had a huddle at the end, and there was a few tears. But that was the power of play in that situation. So you're probably all familiar with this. Sitting is a new smoking, it's a new cancer, it's killing you. So I want you to all stand up. You've been sitting down far too much today. Okay, and I'd like to demonstrate some Primal Play with you, if that's okay. Are you happy with that? Would you like to do some play? Yes? Can I have a volunteer who'd like to come to the front of the stage? Come to the front, anyone? Derek. Derek in the back. Yeah, okay. All right. So, running. Okay, so you're going to partner up for this one, okay? And you're going to start with a handshake, okay? Standing on one leg. Okay, so stand on one leg, right? From a handshake into an arm wrestle, okay? And I want you to arm wrestle your partner, but standing on one leg. Okay, so is strength a part of Primal Play? Well, I believe it is. So this is a very simple game of tug of war. Okay. So, you know, Oliver. Please meet Oliver. Well, picture because we're probably pretty much the same sort of height, weight, and so on. So we're just going to literally pull each other. Okay, nice grip. Okay. Okay, ready? Yeah. Okay, let's go. All right, so now you're ready. Now you know what it involves. Ready? Okay, one more. Okay. Focus. Okay, so there's many ways to demonstrate strength. Thank you very much. So try that with your partner. Try it with your partner. Create some space. Create some space. And tug of war with your partner. Okay. So, let's try and increase intensity slightly. So we probably need, have another volunteer, so maybe Dallas actually, because he's done an air dyeing. So Dallas, if you come this way. Yes, Dallas. Okay, so the great thing about most of these activities are they're infinitely scalable. Okay, so I'm only kind of choosing these volunteers because I kind of hopefully know their names, or they're a similar kind of weight, height, and so on. But this is a great way of increasing intensity safely, and hopefully it will be great for both of us. Okay? Right, so we're going to face each other and kind of fighting stance right here, just to get a good base of support. Okay, hands up. All right, good. So what we're going to be doing is like a push-pull. So we're going to be maintaining resistance all the time. Okay, just going to be like so. All right, you ready?
And what's our outcome? What do we?
The outcome is just going to, we'll do, I don't know, 32, 64.
I don't have to like push you over or anything.
No. This is going to be like so.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
hard as we can, as fast as we can.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to keep resistance. So if you don't keep resistance, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Not good. Okay, so it's going to keep straight. All right, ready? 2, 1, go. Faster. Come on, go. Okay.
That's hard work.
Yes, it is. So, try to be a good partner. Slow it down to begin, and if you feel able, increase the intensity.
It's okay, I'm taking it. I should already everyone's avoiding eye contact with someone else.
Okay. So hopefully you experienced quite a bit of intensity. So I'm still out of breath after that. With the hyperventilation. Okay, but still smiling or laughing, which is great. Let's have a couple of other games. Anyone else would like to volunteer? Anyone? I blame the jet lag, by the way. John?
Yeah.
I'm Darryl. So now we want to focus on mobility, flexibility, and range of motion. Okay, multiple planes. So, fingertips, contact. Okay, so I'll be the coach. So if my fingertips go, you follow. Okay? So back, forward. Okay, well done. Okay, so try with your partner. To begin with, come back for a second. To begin with, just forward and back. Okay? Then step out to the side. And then try for some rotation if you are able. If you're able.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Okay?
Not sure
Okay, let's go.
Certainly the first two.
Okay. We'll do 2 more mini exercises. Craig, Mr. Z from Scotland.
Big leg, big leg.
Okay, so we'll do 2 more games. The first one is called Primal Tag.
Right.
Okay. So, is it tag here or tiggy here or?
Tag.
It's tag. Okay, great. So, we're going to play tag. We don't have much space. So,
It's alright, I'm only small.
we're going to restrict this. We can only tag between the hip and the knee.
Okay.
And we'll play simultaneously. And we're conscious of the fact that I'm wearing glasses. Okay.
So I'm just going for here.
And avoid the crown jewels.
Alright.
Okay.
So, okay.
Alright?
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. Doesn't count after I get to 10, you see. So.
Oh, okay.
I didn't tell him that, did I? Okay. So now you know. Now you know.
Yeah.
First to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, 2. Okay? So try that out. If you want to make it even more interesting, we can go single leg. Okay? 1.
You've got long arms!
Okay. The amazing thing about play is you revert back to being a kid again, and you start saying stuff like Craig just did. You're taller than I am, your arms are longer than mine, you've got more hair. Do you know what I mean?
That's a sign of imperfection.
Okay, so if you try and partner up again and play a bit of tag.
One leg over.
Okay, final game. So, someone actually told me before I arrived that the Kiwis would have to get drunk before they would participate in Primal Play, and I'm so happy that you've proven them wrong. All right, so final game. Okay, so we did a tug of war, which is one way to demonstrate strength. This version is going to be a bit of a push. Okay, so we'll stand facing each other, like so, and I'll try and push you back, you try to push me back. Alright, so again, because we're in confined spaces, we don't want to use momentum. We don't want to charge. Okay, we're going to stay sort of in this position, just like so.
So is it hands on?
Yeah, hands on.
Okay.
Okay, so do you want to push?
Sure.
Go, push. Push. Alright? I've never played rugby either. Alright, so I'll try pushing you. Okay, so Craig's done a fantastic job there. Very low center of gravity. You good?
Yeah.
Engage. Sorry.
That's all good, it's all good.
Yeah. So try that against your partner. Okay? Stay safe! Okay, everyone. So, whew. So, you had a bit of the play, and you also had a bit of the primal as well. So, some of that is really trying to tap in to instinctive movement, not relying on kind of skill or what you've been training for, but it's been to prepare to face your enemy or friendly foe, as it was with Craig. So, in closing, even if you're passionate about movement, as I am, this is a sign in Covent Garden in London, Underground Station. And there are lots of signs appearing now warning you about the dangers of climbing the stairs. Okay? And now we have tannoys. If you do take the stairs, the tannoys will warn you to basically get up the stairs and take the lift. Okay, quite worrying. I did a mock-up of the London Underground poster, and I sent an email to the Lord Mayor, the London Mayor, Boris Johnson, and said, hey, maybe we should change some of the messaging around physical activity and get people to actually use the stairs. They're there, why not let them use them? Of course he didn't reply, and TfL, who are the Transport Authority, basically wrote back and said, stop bugging the Mayor. So, in closing, I believe we should not just work out, we should play out. Thank you very much for your time.